Alex Libby is a teenage student who faced severe bullying in school. Libby had a hard time making friends, so once the bullying began, he thought it was best to put up with the abuse for the sake of having friends. Libby would deal with this abuse at school on a daily basis and come home depressed at the end of the day. This routine continued for many years. In high school, approximately 20% of students have experienced bullying. This statistic doesn't appear to be that significant. However, 70.6% of students have witnessed bullying at school. Although bullying, a growing issue, is known not only to affect its victims, but also the bully itself and the witnesses of it, bullying hasn't always obtained that negative connotation. In the 16th century, according to English speakers of the time, the word bully was closely related to the word lover. The meaning of bully has changed considerably a number of times over the years, which explains why these words have two entirely different meanings now. Its translation as lover quickly altered into fine fellow, which eventually morphed into blusterer, a word more closely related to what we know as a bully now. This was the turning point for the word's meaning, in that bluster directly translates to someone full of hot air and empty threats. The last of its major transformation occurred after it took on the true and still useful definition it has today, harasser of the weak. It wasn't until the 20th century that we began seeing the definition of bullying as we know today. It is necessary that we seek awareness and prevention if this issue is to come to a slow, because this abuse in schools and in the workplace negatively affects the well-being of an individual, and because prevention has the potential to save somebody's life. Bullying can have a long-term effect on a student's education. A distraction from a child's education starts them off on the wrong foot, increases their lack of motivation, and ultimately increases the dropout rates. Bullying is potentially detrimental to a student's education and future. Bullying can also have a long-term effect on a student's health and safety. A child's health is extremely important during this period of growth, but with that being said, it is also very fragile. A hormonal imbalance is easy to achieve, especially when abuse as emotionally taxing as bullying occurs. Depression is almost expected if bullying, whether it be emotional, physical, or psychological, occurs often enough. Depression leads to a tipping point for many teens, and the simple imbalance of hormones found in these individuals can quickly lead to suicide. Regarding bullying's effect on a student's education, health, and safety, ABC News sat down for an interview with Libby, his mother, the father of Tyler Long, and the director of Bully, a documentary based on the stories of both Libby and Long. Although Libby shares that his situation has improved and that he now has many friends at school, Long unfortunately never got to that point. His father was unaware of what his son had been experiencing at school until the abuse reached the point when it was too late. Although it was unmentioned as far as the story of Alex Libby goes, bullying severely hurts a child and even a teenager's education. Two settings for bullying that commonly go unrecognized are in higher education environments such as college and university, and also in the workplace. The types of bullying that go on are mainly psychological and emotional. Physical abuse in these environments is almost non-existent. In a research study by Piotrowski and King, approximately 80% of bullies in the workplace are bosses, and 50% of the employees have witnessed this bullying. Gabriel Georgi began his own research over workplace bullying and the effects that it has. With the help of past research, he created two hypotheses. The first one said that workplace bullying is negatively associated with one's self-management ability. The second one went a little bit more in depth, saying that workplace bullying is negatively correlated to an individual's self-management because of the psychological distress that the abuse creates. As stated by Hera Estroff-Morano, it is possible for anyone to prevent bullying, especially if they use assertiveness instead of aggressiveness. Implementation of prevention systems, much like the PBIS, are also effective. Improvements are necessary for the future, but prevention is headed in the right direction. In conclusion, bullying has long-term effects on an individual, especially on their education, health, and safety. If we want to put an end to bullying, people's focus and attention needs to be put on preventing bullying. You can go to pacer.org for ideas on how to spread awareness for National Bullying Prevention Month in October.